show. Tara, you said hypergamy is men's fault. Andrew wants to debate you on this.
Okay.
You have 5 minutes. Go.
I mean, I think hypergamy is men's fault, mostly because they're ugly. Just to say it straight out.
What?
Wait, you think most men are ugly?
Not most. I would say like maybe like 50% of them are not really
why
attractive.
Why would that be men's? Why does that mean hypergamy
because
is men's fault?
they want a girl who does everything for them and fulfills all their needs and whatever, but they want to be like not lazy, like they'll do all the work and whatever, but they'll be like ugly completely, and then they'll complain about no sex during the
Actually, this trope
and why
I hold on before I have Andrew come in. I think this trope is actually more applicable to women. This whole thing of the basement dwelling obese man wants a Victoria's Secret model. Actually, I think it's the completely unremarkable average woman who is desirous of a man outside of her league. That's much more common.
You say
That's
that,
much more common than the man who's the basement dwelling, Cheeto dust, blah, 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 who's like, I need a Victoria's Secret model.
Women?
Here's why. Because men get slapped in the face with reality. If an average dude steps to a Victoria's Secret model, instant rejection. Whereas women...
Nick Vitz donated $69.
Yo, Nick
One
Vid, thank you,
thing
man.
before I head to bed.
Appreciate it, brother.
Eric, you caught my eye tonight and you seem very wise.
Ooh.
I'm kind of crushing on you now.
Ooh.
FYI, I DM'd you on Nick.
Oh.
Thank you.
There you go.
there's your man.
So, whereas the reversal, as a woman, if you step to a guy outside of your league, he might keep you around for a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, use you for sex. But you get rejected on the back end, so you might think, well, I was able to sleep with that guy. That's my league.
The issue here is mainly attraction, right? Men are more attracted to women as a whole, right? This is even if you're ugly, you'll probably find a guy, right? Most men, this doesn't apply for women, right? Most women are not attracted to most men just right off the bat unless they actually try to invest in their looks and such, and a lot of men don't do it in the right areas. They think, okay, as long as I'm rich, then I could be a fat guy and do all these other things and be ugly and whatever. Sorry, fat people. And so
I could just turn that back around on you and say, like, look at all these chubby, overweight women who just think, let me throw on some makeup.
Anyway.
Let me throw on some makeup, spend all this money on makeup products instead of actually going to the gym. I think all that money you spend on makeup, go buy a gym membership and hit that shit hard. That'll make you way more attractive than painting your face.
I agree with that, but I just think that men are attracted to women more. So it's
I don't really understand that.
A person
I don't
who's,
either.
I don't really get what you're saying.
Let's say you consider this girl to be a 2 out of 10, right? And like she's very whatever. She'll still be able to find a guy, right? No problem. But a guy who doesn't put any effort into his looks will not be able to find a girl, right?
And?
Because women care more about attraction and men will fuck anything. So men being attractive
I get what you're saying.
is more important than a woman being attractive.
Okay, so hypergamy is men's fault.
Well, I don't think it's all men's
Q,
fault.
do you want to do a response and then I'll let Andrew come in on this because he has some good points on this.
No, I just get what she's saying. She's basically saying that it's easier for a woman to get a man than it is for a man to get a woman. That's basically what she's saying, because women at the end of the day, there'll always be like the burden on men to try to find a woman that they can reproduce with, whereas women typically have men who just throw themselves at them who aren't desirable. Like, it's not reciprocal. I get what she's saying. I think there is some merit to that.
And Andrew, I've heard your arguments on this before. If I can kind of prompt you. So you've argued that while it is the case that there are these men, when it comes to hypergamy, there are these men who kind of create the homemakers, as I guess they're called. That's a very
well. Let me dive into this real quick because I want to make sure I understand the argument correctly by steelmanning it. If I heard you correctly, you said that it's because men are ugly. And so I think to steelman this correctly, you're saying that
They're not attractive.
women find men less attractive than men find women, correct?
Yes, correct.
Because men are mostly ugly and women are mostly not ugly.
Sort
From the
of, not
perception,
really.
from the perception of the
It's
sex.
not only
right?
that, also just men have a higher sex drive, from my understanding. They will
Got
fuck
it.
anything.
So then you would say that hypergamy is nature, not social.
Yeah, I do think it's natural.
So then how come it was when thousands of years ago, when there was no beauty standards whatsoever, before there was civilization, would you say that hypergamy existed then?
There was less options then. I think anybody who has
There
an
wasn't
array
less
of
options. There was the same amount of options. Right?
That's not true. What do you mean?
Why would
Dating
they,
options have like
well,
completely.
wait a second. I don't understand. If you're a woman in a village, right, pre-technology, you're saying hypergamy is part of female nature.
But
Isn't
it's
it?
only if you can express it, right? If you don't have options, then there's no hypergamy.
Yeah, but
to
then
have.
the females were just as heinous as the men. So why were the females still going for that top tier of men, according to our archaeological records?
If you have options, men and women will both be hypergamous if they have a few options. That's just the truth.
demonstrate
That's just
it.
human nature. What do you mean demonstrate?
Demonstrate it. Yeah. Can you give me the proof of that claim that if the
Hello
options are there,
underscore
they're
memes
both-
underscore goodbye donated $69. I am successful, fit, raising 2 kids and happily dedicated to my wife of 15 years. What are you ladies doing wrong? Now I'm off to my mom's basement.
Aloha means goodbye. Thank you. Enjoy your mom's basement. Go ahead.
I think Andrew was.
Yeah, so back to this question of hypergamy. Before there was these beauty standards, which existed pre what you would consider civilization, why do we still see that hypergamy is a matter of the record, that women still went for this top
It's
percentile
human nature to be
of
hypergamous.
men?
Anybody.
What's that?
It's human nature to be hypergamous.
Well, then it can't be
a
because
guy,
men are ugly,
A
then.
top 1%er, right? A guy who's like the alpha guy who can have all the girls he wants. He is also hypergamous, right? The reason why
Then
a
it
lot
can't
of
be
men.
because men are ugly and women are pretty. If the pre-beauty standards, they were both fucking ugly and had bad hygiene.
Yeah, but
women
but
weren't.
their
Women weren't
standards
shaving
of
their arm.
beauty-
Hang on. Women weren't shaving their armpits. They weren't plucking their fucking mustaches. They weren't going and getting fake
Sure.
titties. They weren't going and getting all that bullshit.
But
so
beauty
why
s-
were they still going for them if the argument is that they were just men are just fucking ugly?
Beauty standards are relative, right? Like what we consider beautiful today is obviously not going to be what they consider beautiful.
Oh
5
yeah, the
million-
men back then, 10,000 years ago, wanted women with mustaches. That was they were into that shit.
I'm not saying. Well, I mean, I just think it was probably more the standard. I don't think most women were shaving back.
Right,
way,
they
way
weren't.
Back, you know?
So they were equally as ugly, and yet they still went for those men. So this destroys your entire argument. If you're saying it's just nature,
No,
then it
because
wouldn't
it
matter
doesn't.
if the
It
men were
doesn't
better
because
looking than the women.
Men will fuck anything, and women will not. Right?
Then it has nothing to do with the beauty standard, does it? So your argument that it's
guess-
because
I guess
men are
it's a
ugly
mixture
was a
of
stupid
both.
fucking argument, wasn't it?
Well, it's that if the beauty standard is relative, right? And a woman has options back 5 million years ago when cavemans were still around or whatever the hell, and she's looking, she's gonna choose the best option for her, the man that's most attractive to her. If you want to compare that man to today, sure, I bet he's ugly, but back in the time he wasn't.
I got a question.
Are you saying that back in the time that these women with, armpit hair, body hair all over the place smelled just as bad as the fucking men, had no beauty standards whatsoever, they didn't have the fake titties, they didn't have any of that, the rigors of the day also affected them as much as the men? I would say, if you look at the archaeological record, these women were not better looking than the men of the time. They were just as hairy and gross as they are. So
But they
the
were
question
still
is,
able to
why
be
would you,
hypergamous.
if they're still going for this top percentile of the alpha, who's this big ugly ape fuck, why is it that you then think, if that's part of the nature, that now in modernity, what's happened is men just won't upkeep the beauty standards,
Well, back then,
even
they
though
had-
the historic record is against you on
Well,
that.
the historic record is because women had to get married to men, right? We needed
No,
to
they didn't
participate
have to
in
get
society.
married to men.
They were always historically.
Pre-civilization, were they even really getting married? Or was it just,
Pre-civilization.
unga boonga, come over here to my cave?
I mean, if you're talking that far back, it's like we could even argue whether, like, what their language was because they're Ooga Booga. Like, I don't know how much they were able to understand. So, like, I don't even know. Like,
I
this,
thought-
it
Well,
was
okay,
kind of
recorded
arbitrary to talk
civilization is about
it.
10,000 years old, roughly. Okay? Homo sapiens have not changed in 10,000 years at all. I mean, at all. Evolution is such a long, elongated period of time that 10,000 years is a blink. So we were basically in the exact same form we're in right now.
women have always-
Hang on, stop, let me finish. Pre-civilization. we were still in the same form we're in right now, except that women couldn't pluck their fucking eyebrows and shave their armpits and get fake boobs and all this bullshit. They were pretty hideous. They were as hideous as the men were, and yet they were still going for that top percentage.
Historically, women were always trying to be attractive. Maybe they didn't get fake tits and put on makeup because it didn't exist, but they would do it in other ways.
Oh, yeah.
Like their outfits. Yes, there is. They had
Their
other
outfits?
forms of makeup. Yes, they had other forms of
They
makeup.
wore whatever the fuck was around,
Nicole
lady.
and stuff. Okay.
But that's how it developed.
Now you're
though.
talking more like.
Wait, speaking of which, you said you take an issue with men's problems with makeup is really just rooted in insecurity most of the time. What do you mean by that?
I mean, I think they have a fair complaint when like a woman cakes it on way too much and like looks completely different. But for the most part, like if she's just putting on foundation and like just enhancing her features,
Natural
and not, like,
makeup.
Yeah.
So you think it's insecure for a man to prefer a woman
Well,
who wears minimal or no makeup?
No, I think a lot of the reason why men say, "Oh, I prefer a woman with no makeup," is because they know when a girl puts on makeup, she looks prettier, and then like they feel like she's more out of the
that
league.
makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, that don't make no damn sense.
Everybody
Yeah,
got their
because
own
I don't
theory.
even
disagree.
I don't even wear
Because I look the same
foundation.
without makeup, period. So it don't really make me look
Then
10
why do
times
you
better.
put
but
makeup
like,
on?
because I want to feel myself. That's why.
What?
Because it enhances your beauty.
Yeah, it
So,
enhances my beauty, but I look the
exactly.
same without makeup. Like my skincare,
That
like
doesn't make
like
any
my
sense.
Can I?
Oh, no, she looks good with
It's a
that.
hobby. At the same
Women-
time, if you like to do makeup, you just do your
It shouldn't
makeup.
be
Can I
an
say
issue,
it though?
yeah.
Can I?
I don't
Women
think that got
don't-
nothing to do with men though. Some men just prefer women that don't wear
ahead.
makeup.
No, women don't put makeup on for men. They do it for themselves. Like I don't wear foundation.
Women used to 12,000 years ago, they would wear the right type of bear skin in order to bring in their mate.
You can't even wear
Rub
makeup
dirt
for
on their
if your
face,
skin
like
not
Paladins
yours.
donated $69. There is evidence of makeup being in use greater than 10,000 years ago. Women have always wanted the top men and have competed for it.
That's
Who
true
cares?
because
this is still not a widespread phenomenon. One, and the archaeological records show that women were heinous over 10,000 years ago.
So-
For
But
instance,
it's
they
relative.
didn't have
Can I
tampons and Tampax, and they didn't have feminine hygiene products, and they would walk around free bleeding.
didn't
in
have
bear
their own
skin,
version
and
of
they
makeup.
stunk. They smelled awful.
They did.
and they
Can
were
I-
still going for that top tier.
Can I
weren't
give
they?
you a true fact? I've been a cosmetologist for almost 19 years now. Okay, I've been doing hair. Now, back then,
Say so NZ donated $69. Ugly men is a bad way to phrase it.
I'll agree.
Men are statistically attracted to a far higher percent of women than women to men. This lets women have more options.
Yeah, I agree.
so
Well put.
women
Well put.
back then when he's saying women and men were equally ugly, he's not lying because women didn't even wash their hair for weeks and months at a time. They would keep it up in a bun
Neither do
because they couldn't just wash it like we wash our hair here. Like now we have more what's the word that I'm looking for? Opportunities to stay clean and stay hygienic. And like in the Egyptian era of Cleopatra, they broke up, like it was women that wore makeup and that made makeup was actually the queens. It was the rich ones. It was a staple of how much money you had. It wasn't, oh, we're going to go out and do our makeup because we're the poor class. No, the poor class didn't do anything. They stunk. They didn't brush their teeth. They didn't do their makeup or hair. They looked ugly and still got banged by random men.
Hypergamy wasn't about looks. That's why.
Exactly.
Hypergamy wasn't about looks. Hypergamy was about resources and status.
Back then.
So
That's what I was gonna ask.
yeah, hypergamy was about resources and status. It didn't have much
Well,
to
if
do
that's
with
the
looks.
case, and I could agree with you that it is, then it really doesn't have anything to do
With
in
looks.
modernity either with looks. That's my point.
Yeah,
I was gonna say back in the day,
I'm refuting her saying it's about looks. It wasn't about
It
looks.
was about
I
status.
think if
It's
a
about
really,
status.
really hot guy that was like made $30K a year, but he like was super attractive in every other facet, then like most women would break their rules for him. That's just the reality.
Yeah, and he talking about like modern day, but if you talking about what he's saying, like archaeology, anthropology, in those
but
records.
we're in the modern day. Today.
Yeah, but the
hypergamy
further
is
back you
not.
go, we didn't have like money wasn't a thing, and we didn't look clean shaven. We didn't have all
But
of
it was
those tools.
relative. Women were always trying.
Yes, I understand that, but I'm telling you that hypergamy was about status and resources.
I'm not saying that doesn't factor into it. I absolutely do think it does. But I think today most women would break their rules for a hot guy with nothing else.
I wouldn't.
You say that.
I mean, there's also evolutionary
I've
basis
lived it.
too.
I've turned down. I have turned down so many hot guys.
Exists because men have become uglier than women. As we can point to a time where women were just as fucking ugly, heinous, and smelled just as bad, and they were still very hypergamous. The argument just doesn't hold any weight.
Relative.
I'm sorry.
You cannot compare people to today's standards and be like, look, they were ugly, so hypergamy doesn't exist. In their standards, they had different
That's
standards
not my
of
argument.
using. That is basically.
What's my argument? What's my argument? Steel man, my argument, like I did yours.
Okay, well, at least we're even now.
Steel man, my argument, like I steel man your argument.
I mean, I did. I don't know what else you want from me, to be honest. Like, I gave you an
Steel
answer.
man, my argument, which if you don't know what that means, it just means tell me what my argument is to you.
Your argument is that back then, women didn't have, like, there was no beauty standard or anything like that. Everybody was fucking ugly. And so the only difference between men and women was the status that men could provide.
Right.
And that means
So
that
if this is the case, then in modernity, if you're just saying that men are worse looking than women, if we can point to a time when they were basically equally bad looking.
I disagree with you.
Well then, so you just think that women are naturally better looking than men?
No, but I think women
Now,
do
are you
naturally
sure? Because
have a
that would be the
tendency-
inference, wouldn't it? The inference would be that women are just naturally better looking than men.
No,
that would be the inference.
No, it wouldn't. I'm just saying that back then, if you're comparing their beauty standards, women were still trying, even if it was minimal, even if it was not like they couldn't take their hair down or have deodorant and they still stunk like shit. It doesn't matter. They were still trying in the facets that they had available.
Yeah, they were trying to survive.
Only
they were trying to
women of
survive by
status
eating whatever they could get,
care
rubs
about
and
how they
whatever the
look.
fuck they could find. So if that's the case, I don't think they were spending very much time on beauty standards at all.
Minus underscore 69 donated $69. This conversation includes numerous unsubstantiated claims about anthropology and archaeology, all presented without the necessary citations or shola.
Nobody was there.
Oh yeah,
that's not true.
Let's do this.
That's not true. It's
I'll go
definitely
grab a bunch of archaeological sources, though we can agree logically this is true, so that you feel.
Lol Paladins donated $69. Alpha ducks / beta bucks doesn't mean that women only F alphas, it means that women F for one of two reasons. So if she doesn't need your bucks, be alpha.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you,
Fair
Wall
enough.
Paladins. Here, quickly on the makeup thing. Makeup is the functional equivalent of a man working at McDonald's saying that he is a lawyer.
What?
I agree.
What?
That's the functional equivalent.
I agree.
If men are visual creatures, and if you falsely increase your perceived level of physical attractiveness, well, going to
If you could have sex with her makeup on.
well, okay.
Wait, so
Let me ask you a question.
it's about
Like,
what
why
makeup
are
does.
people like? What is the basis of being physically attracted to somebody?
Like, I need to be able to have sex with you and enjoy it. Like, that's
He said, what is the
Butterface.
basis of being
But
physically attracted?
one of the reasons, one of these reasons, is it one? It can be a marker for fertility, at least from the female component. It can be an indicator of What is it? It's blanking me. It can be an indicator of
Genetics.
genetic. So when it comes to offspring, right? Does being attractive confer benefits in life?
I'm not thinking about the offspring. I'm just thinking.
You're not okay, but you're not thinking about
period.
it. But like,
Hey, fuck you.
Subconscious.
but like, okay, why do we have a sex drive?
Human nature, biology,
To
evolution, I don't know.
reproduce.
To procreate.
For procreation?
Yeah.
Okay. So it benefits if we have a high sex drive. There's some that would confer some sort of benefit when it comes to reproduction.
Yeah.
If we were not inclined to seek out sex,
That would be a problem.
that would be an issue on the.
Yeah.
Okay. So does being attractive confer benefits?
Yes.
Okay. Is it desirous for people to confer as many benefits as possible onto their children?
I mean, I don't. It depends what you mean, to be honest.
Do you want to give
Will
your
your
kids as many
children
advantages
will
as
your
possible?
children have a better life if they're
I don't know.
physically attractive?
I don't necessarily like. I'm not thinking about the physical attraction.
It's not
in.
an. It's not on an like a
I'm
it's
sure
not
they
intellectual
will.
level.
I'm
It's like
sure they
it's in
will.
your
Of it.
fucking animal brain.
I mean, I'm not really thinking.
Damn.
Okay.
No, he's right.
Sure, but
He's right.
yes, they would have an easier life if they were attractive.
Okay. And so one of the reasons we seek out an attractive partner, one of the reasons, aside from our own sort of selfish desires, although this would also just be selfish, is if we have children with them, our children would be attractive.
Okay.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
So when a woman lies about her physical appearance, either through makeup usage, plastic surgery, or filter
I was waiting for
usage.
you to make that connection, and that's really what it is. Like, you really, like, you get into a relationship with someone thinking about, like, what your future partners are going to look like.
Aloha underscore means underscore goodbye donated $69. Andrew, I don't agree with all your views, but thank you for being the voice of reason, saving us all from this circular insanity. You make too much sense.
Yeah, and you don't have to agree with everything that I say, man, but I appreciate the support.
So the point I'm trying to make is that makeup, men cannot utilize.
SL underscore I dot D dot underscore B3 to 96F9 BFF 8347 E donated $69. Is this the ugly hood rat episode? The chick in the red needs to thank the Ashanti wannabe and the rest of the trolls for making her look fuckable.
That is depraved.
Your insecurity shows.
Cool. So, yeah, it's the functional equivalent. Because men can't really operate in the realm of, well, let me get plastic surgery. Let me get men can get plastic surgery, but as far as the procedures go, like most women would clown on a dude who like got bicep implants or who got like some sort of. There's like the jaw shit.
Yeah, but what about steroids?
Because it's not
Guys
normalized,
take
though.
steroids and girls
I
don't.
literally cannot be with a guy that has smaller calves than me.
Oh,
Pandaman donated $69. Red shirt getting ready to rage quit like last time lol. Am I right, red shirt? Andrew with the win again.
So look, I mean, since the realm of makeup that's not really the man's realm. Yeah, men lying about their status or their money or their success, since that's an attraction trigger in women, yeah, that's the equivalent there.
If you go into a relationship and your purpose is to think about the physical attractionness of your children and not about whether he's a good person and he's someone you could see yourself lasting forever with, it doesn't make
I'm not saying that's the sole reason why. That's not my argument that's the sole reason.
Your argument is that's why attraction matters, right?
That's one of the reasons.
Okay, well,
it's just what,
to be honest.
Well, it's also what you can just find aesthetically pleasing to yourself.
Okay.
But there are certain similar things that people will deem to be attractive.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, what is the function of being attracted to somebody?
So that you can
for evolution to have children. This is an evolutionary thing. I know it's not going through your head.
But it's not just
oh, that guy's
have
really
children.
attractive.
You don't
Actually,
just
you know
have
what? No,
sex
let me
to
actually.
have
I'll just
children.
hold on. I'll just double down on this. How many times do you is it almost not a trope, but is it almost a joke? You'll say if you're just meeting somebody, you're we would have really attractive kids.
I never say that.
You've never thought that?
I think it's really weird when somebody says that. I'm not gonna lie.
Women say that all the time.
Do you want kids?
They do. Women do say that often.
They say that to me.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
I've heard it. Do you not want kids?
No, I obviously do want kids.
You do want kids?
Yeah.
Nobody does.
I have never said that.
Exactly.
I don't know. I've never said that to somebody.
No,
and nobody's
literally
ever said that to
same.
me.
That's weird.
That is weird.
That's weird.
I've had
What?
men
What's
tell me
weird?
that we would make beautiful babies together.
Yeah.
So for you to say that people have never said that, women and men both say that, and I find it hard to believe. I feel like you have looked at someone and thought about, oh yes, we would make great babies.
Okay, well I haven't. I don't. Whatever. You can assume whatever you want.
Y'all gotta remember, she only got two bodies.
Two bodies.
That's what she said.
Andrew, did you have more on this? Andrew?
I mean, I'm fine with moving it on from here. I don't think it's becoming pretty circular at this point.
So I know that you have a couple more notes. We're going to enter into the roast section here in just a moment. Any final thoughts, any final questions from anybody before we do the roast segment? And then we're going to wrap up the show.
Yeah, I did have one question I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Do the women at the table agree with the other women who said that they were 10s? I'm just curious.
Ladies.
Then we still on that?
I agree that all women, bruh.
Yes.
I mean, I agree
Yes.
that all women are 10s, but like some days they can have 2s, they can have 5s. Sometimes
Well,
I'm
you're
negative
a 10,
75.
right?
Sorry.
Are you a 10?
She wouldn't give a straight
I
answer.
mean, but coming in, I felt like a 10. Coming out, I feel like an 8 because I'm tired.
Yeah, but I mean, all women are 10s. You are a
Correct.
woman, I guess, right?
Correct, man.
I
Thank
would
you.
guess.
Yeah.
So then then the inference here
Wait.
is that you're a 10, right?
Are all men 10s?
Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
No, I don't think it's. No, I
I done
definitely
seen some
don't think
negative
it's
fives. I ain't even gonna hold. No, bro.
Wait, why?
Ain't
Tell me
nobody
why
on
it's bullshit.
What you mean?
At least she's
So explain.
consistent. She says all women are 10s, all men are 10s.
Tell me
Well,
why.
the thing is that it could be logically consistent, but that doesn't mean we actually believe you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's crazy, man. I stand on
Why
my.
would that be crazy? You can have a logically consistent position and still be full of shit.
Because not every woman a 10
True.
either. I don't
True.
agree with that either.
I agree with you.
That's
Not
just-
everybody
that-
is a 10.
Everything
too.
bullshit.
But why do you
So,
think all women aren't 10s?
you could look at them and just tell, like, okay, she's not a 10.
If
Because
somebody
they're
said
fucking
you
ugly.
looked,
What do you mean?
Hold on. If
What do you-
somebody,
you think a woman with a fucking hunch on her back, who is like, who walks around like this and
With the
you know,
beard.
she's fucking nasty and she's ugly as fuck as a 10. Come on.
Rumpelstiltskin
Seriously?
head ass.
you think if somebody said you look like Lizzo, you wouldn't be offended?
Oh,
If someone said I look like, I mean, I don't look like Lizzo.
She's a
though.
10.
Well,
She's a 10.
But she's a 10 in her own way. I'm
No,
a
she's a
in my own
10.
way. Yeah,
You
I'm
said all
great.
men. You said all
And
women are
she-
10s.
yeah,
If somebody said you
Lizzo's
look like
hot.
Lizzo,
Lizzo's great. Lizzo, but I
But that's
don't
not
look
a
like
realistic
Lizzo.
view, though, is what
That's
I'm
not
saying. You can't just go up to
It's
everybody and be
not.
like they a 10
Well,
just to make
I
their
guess
feelings better.
no,
That's what
but
I'm saying.
girly, I'm not doing that to make you feel better. I genuinely think you're a 10.
And I'm saying it's
genuinely.
bullshit. I'm sorry.
If y'all really, I think
That's
It's crap. It's
Bullshit.
crap. It's crap.
Look,
Bullshit,
look,
bullshit.
The chick who's a rapper, you're one of the most sensible women on the panel.
he likes
here, right?
you. He likes you.
Yeah, like I feel like
yeah.
I
I'm
feel
not.
like
I
me
mean,
giving my-
lady. I'm not gonna call you boss lady because that's insane. But you seem like you're
Toy
fairly
boo.
sensible.
Anywho.
You
Please don't
don't
give me-
honestly think all of the women on this panel are 10s, do you?
I mean, my explanation y'all gonna feel like it's bullshit anyway. So,
What's your
but
explanation?
I just feel like everybody a 10 to a certain person. Like you don't gotta be a 10 to everybody, but it's somebody for everybody. Like it's men out here that think Lizzo past a 10. Like it's men out here that think a lot of people are past 10 with makeup, without makeup.
Yeah.
Like everybody beautiful in their own way. I don't do no judging for real, cause I
Yeah.
just don't do that. But like you said, with a women walking around with a humped back and a messed up face and tooth, like a homeless person. You look at homeless people, they in relationships. Like it's people who's 10.
Gia Gracie donated